How often should I exercise? This is another frequently asked question I get when people are asking the specifics of what to do, how often to exercise, how often to go out for a run, how often to lift weights. And I think the better question is, how often do you want to feel better? So I think it depends from person to person as to how often any one person should exercise. I certainly don't think it should be every single day of the week, as much as you are potentially eager to do so, but doing it 7 days straight, back to back, it's not sustainable, right? So for me, how often should I exercise should be answered by looking at a way that is going to be sustainable. Ultimately, it's got to be sustainable because exercise is one of the 4 pillars, in my opinion, one of the 4 pillars of staying fit, healthy and happy for life, right? I'm not just talking about for a few weeks at a time. I'm talking about the stuff that you do that is going to keep you fit, healthy and happy for life. And one of those key things is to move, to exercise the body, to be active. And it depends from person to person really, but there's an extreme. There's a exercise all the time, and then there's exercise hardly ever, if ever. Potentially you've been out for years and years and you've not done anything. So there's this spectrum, and you're going to be on that spectrum somewhere. And I think the question to ask yourself is, how often or how regularly do you want to feel better? Because being active, having some kind of activity that is part of your life, means that generally you feel better. So the question is more, how often do you want to feel better? So it's not a case of exercise every day, but it's going to be doing it often, okay? The question is, how often do you want to feel good? On the flip side, what we don't want is that it's inconsistent. In terms of what we don't want is where you only exercise when it's something that you feel you have to do. Like, you've got a holiday coming up, so I need to exercise to lose weight for the holiday. Or you're only getting active because you've got a wedding to prepare for or something like that. Activity and movement and exercise generally has got to be part of your life if you want your life to be fit, healthy and happy in the long run. You can't treat it as something that you just pick up and put down again when it's convenient to you. It's got to be one of those pillars. So if your health and fitness is a 4-legged table, if you take one of those legs away, the table's going to fall over. So you want to prop up that table with one of the key pillars being movement. The other 3 are, they require rather a video all by themselves, all right, for each of them. But they are to nourish the body, to strengthen the body, and to work on your mindset in terms of improving the way you think and therefore everything else that you do. But coming back to this question of how often should I exercise, ultimately it comes down to how often do you want to feel good? So it's not 7 days a week, because tell me one person's name right now that you know who exercises every single day and they do it for years and years and years. No one, all right? Because we need to, yes, stress the body into adapting to become stronger so that in future the exercise that you do becomes a little bit easier. I know that when you first start out exercising, it can feel very tough, especially if you've been out for a long time. So it's about building a habit, building an exercise habit that works for you, that you enjoy doing, because if you don't enjoy it, if you don't look forward to it, then you're never going to stick to it. And it's about finding sustainable ways to keep it in your life, to have it become part of your life, right? How many things have you tried in the past where you've rebelled or you've hated it from the beginning? You're already setting yourself up to fail in terms of you've hated it, so therefore you're not really going to want to continue it. And it's about trying lots of different things until you fall upon that thing that means that you get to do it forever and ever. And for me, it's running. For someone else, it may be tennis, swimming. There's 1,000,001 lots of activities, and I'm pretty sure you haven't tried them all, even though you probably think you have. So in answer to the question, how often should I exercise? The better question to ask yourself is, how often do I want to feel good? And if the answer to that question is that you want to feel good and yourself have all this self-confidence and self-esteem, one way of doing it is through being active. So the more regularly you can do it, the better. And one way of bolstering that consistency is to get some kind of accountability in your life. So it's one thing to know what to do, but it's another thing to actually do it and keep it up. And the keep it up aspect is done by getting some kind of accountability. Accountability meaning you get someone else external to you to hold you answerable to you doing the thing that you said you would, which is why things like buddying up with someone else can help you so much to stay on top of your exercise, or joining a group like a club or a studio or a class or something like that. Again, that is going to help you with your exercise. But ultimately, it's the accountability, and the more accountable you are, the more likely you are to stick to it. Because time and time again, studies have proven that if you set a specific accountability deadline, you're up to 65% more likely to stick to the thing that you said you would, whether it's exercise, nutrition, anything in your life in terms of your goals. And if you set a specific deadline with another person, and you keep it as specific as possible, then you're up to 95% more likely to achieve the goal that you set out. So accountability works, and if you meld that and join that up with finding some kind of exercise that you enjoy, then you get the magic mixture of having exercise become part of your life in the long term.